Salutations, fellow seekers. Don't panic and always know where your towel is. Welcome to the Crystal Kali podcast, created to expand your mind and inspire you to seek your limitless potential. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Join my gang, drop me a hello. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode where we explore the minds and journeys of those who shape our world through unwavering dedication and profound impact. Today's guest is a powerhouse in the realm of blues rock, a drummer whose rhythmic precision and soulful energy have propelled some of the genre's most iconic performances. Born in Alhambra, California in 1968, Michael Leasure discovered his calling at the tender age of 5, inspired by the legendary Gene Krupa. Self-taught, he honed his skills through relentless practice, drawing influences from hard rock giants like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath to jazz fusion masters such as Chick Corea and Weather Report. By age 18, Leasure secured his first professional gig with the Velvet Knights Drum and Bugle Corps, marking the start of a versatile career that spanned club circuits in Southern California. His reputation soared, leading to collaborations with blues legend Albert Collins on renowned blues cruises and a memorable performance behind the kit for Buddy Miles. In 2005, after a nerve-wracking audition where he outshone 19 other contenders, Leasure joined the Edgar Winter Band, debuting on stage and delivering 50 electrifying shows across 2005 and 2006. His journey continued with guitar virtuoso Philip Sayce, contributing dynamic drum tracks to Sayce's recent albums. Since 2008, Leasure has been the rhythmic anchor for blues rock icon Walter Trout, recording 10 albums and performing over 4,000 shows worldwide, earning acclaim as a fan favorite for his powerful grooves, dynamic solos, and John Bonham-inspired heaviness. As a freelance session musician, vocalist, arranger, producer, clinician, and instructor, he embodies versatility and humility, driven by a deep commitment to his craft. Please welcome someone I've had the pleasure of listening to and jamming with for more than 2 decades, my friend, who also happens to be one of my favorite drummers of all time, Michael Leasure.
He's brutal. No, I've never missed a show.
You've never missed a show? Wow.
Never. Over 4,000 shows.
Oh my gosh. If that doesn't tell you about work ethic, I don't know what does.
17
I
years.
really don't.
17 years, 11 albums.
Wow.
Just with Walter, not counting Philip Sayce and other people that I played with.
Right.
You remember Andy Wallow? I used to play with him at the Starboard Attitude back in the day, like early 2000s. It might have been before.
I remember an Andy.
Yeah, he was an amazing guitar player.
Okay.
And he was one of the guys that taught me my first shuffle.
Oh, nice.
He actually sat down and go, "Here's how you play the shuffle." Like,
wow.
I was a rock guy all my life.
Oh, okay.
So I started picking up the blues later, and then Walter was a mix of rock and blues. And I'm like, that's the band I need to be in.
Right.
I got a good story about how I'll tell the story when we're taping.
Well, we're already taping.
Oh, okay, good.
We've been taping for like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. I love that.
Yeah, I just let it roll that way because, I could throw in little footage and stuff when I edit it. I've learned that once the cameras are ready, just roll them because people start talking and then they give me the best stories and then they're like, oh man, it wasn't rolling. It was just,
Right.
But yeah, what is the story? I'm curious now.
I was playing in a small club in Monrovia, California with a jazz fusion trio with a great guitar player named Bob Robles and John Avila on bass from Oingo Boingo. And we had a trio called MJB, Mike, John, and Bob. We used to play every Tuesday night, and we could play whatever we wanted.
Oh, nice.
We would bring songs in and go, let's try this one. So we'd play Jobim, we'd play some, blues stuff, we'd play some Billy Cobham, whatever. And we would just go for it. We could do whatever we wanted. So we're on break, and John's brother, Sammy Avila, who I've known for many, many years, was playing with Walter Trout. He was on the phone during the break, and I said, who are you on the phone with? He said, Walter, and I grabbed the phone out of his hand and said, Walter, you don't know me, but my name's Mike Leasure, and I'm your next drummer. And 6 months later, he needed a drummer, and he called Sammy and said, hey, call that guy up, man. He was pretty tenacious.
Wow, that is bold, and I love it. I love that story.
And here we are 17 years later.
That's how to grab your career by the phone. Zing.
Pow.
All right. So I know that you've played with Walter. I also know that you've played with Edgar Winter.
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did you get that gig?
I was playing down the street from that club. No, was it the same club? Yeah, same club. It was called the Brass Elephant. It was in this hotel, this old hotel. And I was playing there with another great guitarist named Dave Osty, who I grew up playing with, learned a lot from. He was a heavy blues rocker kind of guy. And I was doing a free gig with him as a benefit to Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
Excuse me. And so most guys wouldn't have done it because it didn't pay. But I love playing with Dave, and I always want to give back and try and help. And we were going to raise money and give it all to help people from the hurricane. So the bass player was late, and I didn't know who it was. And it happened to be Mark Meadows, the bass cowboy who played with Edgar Winter. So he shows up, he throws his amp up on stage, and he's, in a bad mood, and he starts playing, and, he's kind of in his own little thing. And then he kind of looks at me, and we're playing, and, we started having a pretty good time. By the end of the set, he's like, "Hey, man, you're a really good drummer." I'm like, "Thanks, man." He goes, "We're having auditions for drummers right now. Do you want to audition?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So I got the number for the tour manager. He sent me a CD. I think I picked it up, a CD with 3 songs on it. A song called New Orleans, Free Ride, and Frankenstein. But it's a live version, so it's 20 minutes long. And there's some sequenced parts, so there's a lot of solos and there's a lot to remember. I had 24 hours to learn it and go audition, and it was just Edgar and me in a room. And Edgar had his saxophone, he had his timbales set up, he had his keyboards, and the rest was all on tracks, the guitar, the bass. So we just played together, and I played the first song, I played the second song, and he made a comment, "Mac, that was a little too laid back. If you could just keep it more on the beat next time." And I'm like, "Oh, I just screwed the pooch, man. I just fucked up this audition." And I was just so beside myself. And then he said, I'm sorry, I got to tell you, I have to tell the other 19 drummers that they didn't make it because you got the gig." And I was just so happy. And then we played Frankenstein. So I knew I got the gig. I was just having fun and letting loose. And it was the best time. One of the greatest learning experiences of my career. He was one of the most gentleman, nurturing, positive, almost spiritual kind of cat. He was very even keel, never got angry. He told me, as long as I know my parts, as long as you do your job, you can do whatever you want. He said, "This is a player's band. I want everybody to shine."
Okay. Right.
So that gave me a lot of, I could breathe easy, and just, like I said, learn my stuff, show up on time. We played with in-ears because there were background tracks. "Come on and take a free ride."
Okay,
some of that stuff just to thicken it up,
Amazing.
But
that's so fun.
It was one of the best musical experiences of my life. And one thing that it gave me as an artist was when people would meet me and they would know that I played with Edgar Winter, sight unseen, never hearing me play, they're like, "Well, if you play with Edgar Winter, you must be able to play." So it gave me instant clout.
Yeah. Yes.
So I played with him for 2 years.
Me and my musical buddies call that so much hand. You have so much hand. Clout.
Yeah.
The street cred. You've got the upper hand.
The hand. That's the first I've heard of that.
Hand. Actually comes from a Seinfeld, an old Seinfeld episode.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, where Seinfeld and his girlfriend are going back and forth about who has the upper hand in the dating. Like who's chasing who, basically. Right. And so Jerry's always like, "I have the hand today. I have the hand." Yes.
That's funny. I have to watch that now.
It is the same in the music industry. It's interesting how just from me playing with Shorty, when I say, or, somebody knows I'm a musician, and then if I don't say anything about having played with Shorty, it's kind of like, "Oh, you're a musician. You must be just, living in the basement and, stinky feet and, living in the cardboard box in the alley type musician, But then I say, oh yeah, I used to play for Guitar Shorty. And then it's like, oh, it's just, a totally different conversation after that, which is understandable, of course. But, certain people can definitely give you that, immediate
Sure.
sort of, I always feel like it's giving you a backstage pass. I used to actually talk to Tomes a lot about how playing for Guitar Shorty is like having an all access pass to the entire blues industry.
Sure.
And it's just like this aura of like a golden halo. And I can walk around, I can go anywhere and say, oh, Guitar Shorty's band is here. And it's sort of like just a key. It's a great key. It's amazing. It's like the greatest gift ever.
Yeah. He was absolutely a legend in every sense. And he was also a friend of ours. And we actually got to play together.
Yes, we did.
With Shorty at the Belly Up.
Yes. And thank the gods that I got that one on video. So happy.
Really?
Oh, heck yeah.
I'd like to see some of that.
Oh, yeah. I got that footage, and whenever I feel depressed, I just watch it.
Lifts your spirits.
And I feel better.
Right.
How long have you been playing with Walter now?
Oh, March 10th, 2008 was my first show in Moscow, Russia. So about 17 years coming up on.
Wow. What is the best all-time show you can remember playing with Walter? If you have to pick one, if you were stranded on a desert island and you could only keep one memory of one show, what would it be?
That's a tough one.
Oh, I know. I'm sure that's like the hardest question ever because there's so many good ones. They're all great. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, some of the gigs that we did were just when the band played so beautifully together and the crowd was with us in every note. And, they were really, you could tell emotionally that they were invested in what we were doing. Sometimes they're in small venues. And then other times they're big, huge, gigs that we've done. We played Sweden Rock, which is a big, huge metal festival.
Okay.
And there's like 5 stages, and you've got Guns N' Roses playing over here, and you've got Ozzy playing over here, and we're on another stage, and there's like, 500,000 people. So we got like 80,000 people out there watching us play, and there's nothing like everybody rocking out with you, and you could see, you stop hearing the individual claps, and you just hear the. That's, it's pretty, it gives me goosebumps,
Wow.
But then there have been some small gigs where we just played and it just made me weep,
Wow.
Sometimes I'd play shows where I was dealing with something personally, like a death of a family member and have to play through it. That was always difficult, but then you could feel their spirit with you. So I don't know. I would have to think about that. I don't think I could just blurt out one. That's okay,
because that's a tough question. That's like impossible.
Yeah.
Because it's
I've done
such a
over
good
4,000
band.
shows with them.
Yeah,
so it's like
that's wild. I know that you just got back from Zurich.
Where was it? Denmark, Germany, Italy, and some other place I can't remember.
Oh my gosh. It's a whirlwind. So I want to take you back in time to your origin story. When did you very first start picking up the sticks or just barely starting to know that you wanted to be a musician?
Okay.
Were you really young or were you a little older?
When I was 5, I wanted to be an astronaut. I
love that.
Enthralled with everything space and spaceships and going to the moon and all of these things.
I can relate.
It was the early 70s.
Okay.
And so it was around the time that they were doing all these space missions and stuff, and I started learning about it all. And my mom had I forgot what you call it. It was like a station wagon with like the wood trim on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And it had one of those jumper seats in the back where you could sit facing the opposite way. And she used to take us to this, I was involved in this GATE program, or mentally gifted minors.
Oh my gosh, I was in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so gifted and talented education.
Right.
Very nice.
And she would take us to that class. And we had to go up this big hill in Monterey Park. And so we'd be backwards going up, and I would be imagining that it was us in a spaceship leaving the Earth.
I love that.
So I was really all about space. Now, what I didn't know is that my mom, when she was a young girl, she would go with my uncle, her brother, would take her to the Palladium in Los Angeles to go see Benny Goodman. And they had Gene Krupa on the drums, who was the very first drummer to play a drum solo, which the band would play and then they'd just stop playing and he would just keep going.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Classic. Sing, sing, sing. So she had the record player. She put that on while she was cooking or cleaning the house or something. Because I was always with her, right? And I heard that. I was 6 years old. And I just couldn't stop moving to the music. And I'm like, started grabbing things and I think I had some wooden spoons, some cooking utensils, and I just started banging on the table.
Oh my gosh.
Some pots and pans. And she was like, wow, kids got rhythm. So she said, as long as you do your homework and as long as you do your chores, you can do that as much as you want. So she got me a little drum kit out of the recycler, like a used drum kit. And I dragged that whole big stereo console down the stairs into the garage. And I set up my drums and I would just go for hours and hours and just grab all kinds of records like the Isley Brothers and Santana and whatever I could get my hands on and just learn that stuff. And I wouldn't come out until I learned it.
You mean, did you start playing on that kit without a teacher? Like you just started?
Completely self-taught for years.
What? This is wild.
Never had a lesson until I was in high school, I think.
Wow, that sounds so incredibly difficult to me. That sounds like so
It just
hard.
took a long time. It took a lot of putting the needle back and just listening to something over and over and getting that part and then going to the next part. I learned how to play Rush. I learned how to play Led Zeppelin. I learned how to play all these great bands by using the needle and the record player.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to put my hands, like I wouldn't even know, how would you even figure that out? You don't have internet. You can't just Google, how do I sit at the kit? You don't even know which way to put, where do you even put the snare? How do you even know where to put the snare?
Right.
There's so much going on there with the kit. Like I could kind of understand if you were a piano player, how you could maybe kind of start teaching yourself because you just put your fingers there and you just do that, right? But you've got 4 limbs. You've got all these different choices of where you can put the sticks. I mean, how would you even learn how to even hold the stick? I don't even know.
Well,
that's wild. I love it.
I learned with bad technique because I taught myself, so I really didn't know how to hold it the right way. So I still have some of that bad technique. I've tried to unlearn some of those things, but some of those things that I learned by myself, I've been using to my advantage because I can do other things that other drummers can't do because I have this certain way of playing. Maybe
more natural, like you just picked up the sticks, you just like that. You're not going to go, oh, let me make sure it's in the right fulcrum and the balance is right and my wrist is right. You just pick them up.
I didn't learn that until later.
I mean, one thing I've noticed about your playing from listening to you play for 20 years is that you hit harder than most drummers. Or maybe it's not the actual volume.
Yeah, I just.
Well, no, it's definitely.
I know what you mean.
It's definitely the volume. It just sounds louder and punchier and heavier.
Yeah, I play with intention, and I mean what I'm playing with every note. So
it just sounds like there's more weight behind each hit.
Yeah.
Which I love. I think it's wonderful. And, hearing you play at a time when I didn't really have a lot of, I didn't really have a lot of experience of hearing live music at that time. I mean, I had probably, before starting to go to the Sugar Mill, I had probably maybe seen 3 live shows in my life or something at that point.
Yeah.
So, going to the Sugar Mill was really my introduction to hearing different players play, and you were a staple there, and also, going to see you and Philip play at the time. And that was one of the things I noticed immediately was like, I like that sound. I like the heavy hitting drummer. And I noticed that over my career, I look for that.
Yeah.
I don't like that like lighter type of sound for some reason, but that's just my personal
I understand exactly
thing.
what you're saying. And I even noticed that in drummers that play a little light because the drummer has to lead the band. So you have to play with a certain kind of command, to do that. And there's a time and a place to play with dynamics, and I love that too.
Yeah.
To be able to have that touch, to be able to go from that to that and not lose the time and not lose the feel. Play a slew blues really and just let it sit right there, and feel that groove without losing the intensity of it. The reason why I play so hard is because Philip plays really loud. He has a lot of volume, but that's how he gets his sound. So he demands it. So I have to bring that when I play with him. So,
right.
It's probably the loudest that I play with is when I play with Philip.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds great though.
Yeah.
Actually, me and some of my friends kind of joke and say, if you're not a very good guitar player, just play with Michael Leasure, because he'll make your solo sound like you were the one that was leading that was leading the dynamics.
Well, thank you.
But really it was him. And we've had whole conversations behind your back about how if you want to have if you're not doing well on your solo that day, just pray and hope that Mike Leasure is there, because he will cover it up.
Well, thank you very much. I've never heard that.
Yes, because you listen to the story of a guitar solo,
right?
And you'll take it to a place that, I mean, the one time I played with you, I didn't even know I could even play like that, to be honest with you. I think that was one of my best solos I might have ever played in my life. And that was because you were listening to the story and, repeating phrases and, having the dynamics really go, in a wide range and leading the audience through an actual story instead of just, playing one steady groove. And then the guitar player is really the one that's, leading everything without a back and forth between the solo and the drums. And, I mean, it's incredible. It's super important. It's like one of the most important things, I think. Yeah.
We're having a conversation in real time as it's happening. It's like what we're doing right now.
Right.
The back and forth. Because I think I'm good at that, and I developed that early on because I learned by listening to a record. I trained my ear by picking up what I'm hearing. So when I'm playing live and I'm hearing things, I don't have to look. I can just feel. And I know when the next thing's coming, or I know what to do to set up because they're going to go here or they're going to break it down, and I can feel it before. A lot of people want to, hey, and they want, like, you don't have to do that. Just do like that with the neck of your guitar, or just play and I'll feel it. I'll catch you.
Oh, right.
They're used to playing with somebody that's maybe not as advanced to where they need to tell them, okay, we're breaking it down. But I flow when I play. So I always played with players that were better than me also. So I always pushed myself to be as best I could, play as best I could. And I had cats that would tell me straight up, like, listen, man, you're not catching it. Like I would be playing a bunch of drum fills, or not paying attention, listening to more what I'm doing, trying to practice making it feel really good when I should have been listening to them. So innately, you become better by listening to everybody else. So that's my number one thing that I tell people that are learning how to play is listen. Use your ears and your eyes too. Big ears and big eyes.
Yes, that's some great advice. That's the advice I got from Shorty's band when I first started playing with him was, you'll be fine. Just you have to watch Shorty like a hawk. Yeah. Don't take your eyes off of him. You never know what he's going to do. Because if he looks back at you like that, just barely like one little glance, and you didn't catch it, you're not going to be on the next show. Right. And it took me a while to figure out what that meant, as opposed to these little tiny little movements. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Chuck Berry had his thing with his foot.
Yes. Okay, so a big part of my podcast is teaching people and trying to have an educational component. Mm-hmm. And so my question to you is, for all of the young musicians out there listening who really would love to make a career and a living out of playing music and getting out of the bedroom onto stages, being a working, session player and gigging musician, actually able to pay your rent? Actually, that's a good question. How long have you been able to be just a musician, just a full-time musician? How many years before you had to have a real job?
Well,
and teaching music doesn't count. That you can't count that.
Coming up in my early 20s, I was playing in clubs. I was learning. I was playing with different people, and I would have different jobs to supplement my income. I've been everything from a courier to a meter reader for Southern California Edison. I've done a lot of different jobs. But actually full-time playing music, I'd say 20 years.
Wow, amazing.
20 years where I've been just playing music without any other. 25.
Wow. Okay, so if somebody's just getting started and they have not even had their first paid gig yet, what are some pieces of advice that you could give some listeners out there of how do you go get paying gigs so that you can do this as a career?
Well, I'd like to preface the answer by saying a lot of people are making money just doing content because the whole making music scene has changed when the pandemic happened. So a lot of people are like, well, I can just do this and people can see me and I can get 1 million followers. But if you put those people in a room with other musicians, they may not play as well together because they're just not used to it. So I learned the opposite way. I would go into a club. I had a buddy who's a fellow musician who tours. His name is Drake Shining, great keyboard player. We were playing in an original band, and he said, there's this place where they have music 7 nights a week, and we can go and sit in with these bands. But it wasn't a jam. It was their show. And if you were lucky, they let you play like 1 or 2 songs at the end of the night. So we would hang out, and then they would call us up. So rule number 1, you never ask to sit in. You get invited to sit in. Okay, so don't go in and say, hey, man, I can play. And, can I sit in? That obviously tells someone that you have some experience. You have to experience some things and maybe learn a few things about etiquette and, maybe play a little bit more. If you're out there playing and people see you play, then they'll invite you to play because they can see that you can play. So that's what my first thing that I tell people is practice your craft on your own, but go and play with other people. So they have jams everywhere. They have blues jams. They have other different kinds of jams. Go and play with other musicians. Play with musicians that are better than you are so that you're always striving. Don't play down to players. Play up to the next level, so that you're the one who's trying to figure everything out. I mean, I was barely hanging on. I was making mistakes, but eventually I learned because I just never gave up. People are like, oh, Mike, you're good drummer. That's really cute, but you need to get a regular job. No, you don't understand. This is my job. I never, ever saw it any other way. Once I set my sights on that, nothing could veer me. They were just avenues of slight detours of doing other things, but the music has always been the number one thing, and it still is. I'm still just as hungry as I was when I was a kid. You saw me playing in a club last week for $125 or whatever. It's because I love playing with good musicians, with Crazy Tones and other musicians that are inspiring me to be my best. I'm always going to do that,
I love that. And a lot of people, when they just come off of a whirlwind tour of Europe, would not take that $125 gig because they don't need it. They're tired.
Right.
Want to catch up on sleep.
And I was.
Jet lag and, but most people wouldn't come out and push through.
Yeah.
They would just go home and go to sleep and say, hey, I'll catch you next week or whatever. So that's very telling of your work ethic. And,
I'm always hustling.
Yeah. I know that some of the most, well paid and well traveled and everything, session musicians are really the ones that take every gig. And, the money could be up, down, and it's not that. It's the volume. It's just the sheer volume of gigs.
Right.
Like our friend that we keep talking about, Tomes, I think the other day he had 3 gigs. He had like 2, like a brunch gig and then a lunch gig and then a one in the evening. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's out there breakfast, lunch, and dinner doing gigs. 3 in a row. I mean, it's amazing. I don't know how he does it, but that's very, very telling about how important work ethic is. If you want to make an art your living, you have to think of it a little bit differently than what I did, which was not good for a little while, which was, oh, I'm only going to show up and play this, I'll only get out of bed for a certain amount of money. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I won't play any gigs if it's not $250 now. Otherwise,
Right.
I'm not doing it. That's not really how it works. If you're trying to make your art your living, you have to just think of it as sheer volume. And not only that, but as you touched upon before, in music, you're just going to keep meeting more and more people, and those people that are getting those paying gigs know other people that are getting paying gigs. And the more that you're out there, even like when you did the free show for Katrina, you ended up getting the gig with Edgar Winter.
Right.
If you would have been the guy that's like, oh, I'm not going to go
That's right.
because I only show up for, $300 and, I have this resume and look how good I can play. I'm better than everybody in my town and I'm not going. Well, then you wouldn't have gotten that gig,
Right.
So it's probably, I honestly think it's probably something spiritual that, the more that you give, you were giving something back, right? And then the universe rewarded you by giving you something back,
Right.
which is amazing. I love
It
that
always
story.
works like that.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay, I'm gonna touch upon some nerdy things, some
Okay.
very nerdy things, and then maybe some more fun things. What is one piece of gear that you cannot live without? Because I know drummers are going to be watching this.
The number one thing that I need in order to play any show is a left-footed and a right-footed double pedal. Now, the reason I say that is because sometimes I'll show up at a gig and you can't switch the drums around because I'm left-handed, everybody. I'm self-taught. I learned how to play lefty. That's what felt comfortable. So I just learned that way. So sitting in on another drum set, I had to learn how to play on a right-handed drum set, which is completely set up backwards. So you have to kind of sit like this, and it's very uncomfortable. So I found out that if I could have a right-footed double pedal, I could actually sit and just uncross my hands and play the drum set pretty much okay.
Okay.
So I can sit in on a gig with a right-footed double pedal. But if it's a gig where we're playing a festival and it's a fly-in and they're pretty much not going to have what I need, the reason why I need a double pedal is not so I can play a big flurry of notes. There's just a certain thing that I do to where I put my foot, my hi-hat foot, and I straddle it between the two pedals. So I put my foot right in the middle so I can play either the double pedal or the hi-hat or both. And sometimes for endings, I just want a big, fast notes for flurry of endings, and I use it for my solos. But I don't use it all the time. But I've been using it for so long that I like to have it when I'm doing a gig or a fly-in or a festival. So we had 2 fly-ins during this tour. We were on tour in our van, and we had to fly to Italy and play a show, and then fly to another city in Italy and play a show. And they're small Italian festivals, so I don't know if they're going to have what I need. So I just bring my double pedal and my stick bag, and then everything else I can deal with. The cymbals may not be the best. I like having nice cymbals, and if I could bring that, that would be cool. But I need to have my double pedal more importantly than anything else.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that you actually said that, because I now know why you're one of the only drummers that when you're playing, I watch your feet just as much as I watch your hands. I don't think I do that with anybody else. And now I know why. Now I know what I'm looking at. I don't think I knew what I was looking at before. It's cool to watch. It's definitely cool to see. What's your best piece of advice for staying physically and mentally sharp when you're playing high energy shows night after night on a tour? Especially like when you said you were going to fly into Denmark, play one show, and then come right back.
Yeah, that's this weekend.
What's some tips and tricks that you can give people when they're just going like that to still stay on your game?
A lot of people, when they're on tour, or they're playing a series of shows and they're traveling every day and playing a show every night for a certain period of time, the number one thing that I have to realize I'm there to work. I'm there to do my job. I'm there to do a very good job, my very best, every single time. So the number one thing I need to do is take care of my mind and my body. So I need to get enough sleep. That's number one. Your muscles get sore, so I take like a hot bath with Epsom salt. I do stretches. I do qigong. I do energy work. I drink tons of water. I lift weights. I go for walks. I do stretches. I have this whole routine that I do.
Okay.
Before a show and after a show. I pack and I go right to sleep. I don't watch TV. I don't look at my phone. I set my alarm and I go to bed so that I can get as much sleep as possible. Because sometimes, you have to go to the venue and go right on stage. Sometimes we can go to the hotel and get a nap and the crew can set up and I can get a couple hours, get an hour nap and a shower. That's amazing. That's a lifesaver. If you can do that after traveling before you do a show, if you can be horizontal for an hour and get a shower, you can refresh yourself after a long days of travel and have a good show. The other thing I like to try and do is pace myself. Even though it's 10,000 people and you're really excited, and you've got a 2-hour show, you realize you've got 3 more shows before you have a day off. So you can't just blow your wad on one show. You have to really pace yourself. So what I do is I come out strong on the very first song, and then we have like a slow blues, so I can kind of cruise and just kind of get warmed up and just kind of go along and then build up the intensity. It depends on what song we're playing. But basically, I give every song what it needs to feel genuinely like the best it can sound, that I don't do too much. There is somewhat of a, not holding back, but just being aware of where you're at.
Well, it's like a marathon.
Yeah.
If you're a marathon runner, you can't just be sprinting the entire time. You're not going to win.
Oh, there's also other ways to use your feet and your leg muscles and hold the sticks. I can change the way I hold the sticks to play to where I'm not using these muscles so much and I'm using the tips of my fingers, or you're just kind of using the weight of the stick just to kind of, and so you're not putting so much effort into it. Mm-hmm. And at this point in the game, after playing for, 50 years, I can do it without thinking.
Wow. This reminds me of one time I started playing bass, and I was playing a show, and I'm not a bass player. I can play bass, but I'm not a bass player by trade. And I had just picked up the bass because somebody needed a bass player just for that one gig, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it, And I'm on stage and my hand started cramping, and it was just.
Oh, yeah.
It was just cramping, and there was just nothing I could do, and I was in pain. And, because I didn't realize how different those big strings were going to be, I just thought, I know the fretboard back and forth. I'll just do whatever. Right. I know how the bass lines go. I've been hearing them forever. It'll be fine. I wasn't expecting that my hand was going to cramp, and, the whole band is looking at me, the drummer's looking at me, and I'm trying to say, my hand's cramping, but there's nothing you can do. So those little things are incredibly important. One time when I was in school at MI, I took a intro to drums class with a drummer called Fred Dinkins. I don't know if you know who Fred Dinkins is.
I've heard of him.
Really good drummer. And I took the class because I wanted to be a better musician. I wanted to understand what my drummer was thinking about and understanding rhythms better. And he would make us practice, because we had tests and the tests were playing. And I will never forget once I realized how physically demanding drums were. Just from the little intro to drums class I was taking that semester, and I would be in the drum room and I'd be there for, 20 or 30 minutes and I would just be wiped out, so tired and sweaty and just exhausted. After that, I had a renewed appreciation for the physicality of drums.
Yeah.
Because guitar it's not like that. It's not, you're not, flailing your all 4 of your limbs to a point of, feeling like you literally just ran around miles of track. You're just basically doing this, which is not anywhere near as physically demanding. So yes, there's that. And also hauling the drum gear is a whole other situation. Right. So I feel that out of anybody in the band, the drummer has to be the most physically fit for sure.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm definitely a big guy. I'm overweight, but my body and my muscles are trained like an athlete for those types of things. You know, like you could have a marathon runner who's in amazing shape sit down on the drums and they wouldn't last 10 minutes.
Yeah, because it's different muscles.
It's a different kind of thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
You asked me that question about what's the most important thing. There is one other thing. Tuning key. I have to tune my drums.
Oh, that is also, yes.
I'm a huge, I'm very nitpicky about drums being tuned.
And I can hear it. We can all hear the difference. Definitely.
Because it's more fun to play when they sound better.
Yes.
I'm more inspired.
Right.
When they sound horrible, it's like, I'm just like hating life. You know, I can't really get into the music because I'm just like, these drums sound terrible.
Yes. I mean, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
We can hear it for sure. Last question, just to keep it fun and light.
My favorite Beatle is Ringo. Oh, sorry.
I'm shocked. Oh, no. I'm actually going to see Paul in a month or so. He's playing in Las Vegas. I am obsessed with Paul McCartney, and so
it's amazing.
It is what it is. So my last question for you is going to be, what is one funny tour tale that you can remember? Just anything wild and funny and crazy that you can remember
that I could say on air.
Yeah, you could say it on air, and if there's anything, I can always bleep it out.
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot. I've done so many shows with so many people. Putting me on the spot, I have to run through the Rolodex in my mind.
That's all right. That's all right. You know, I noticed that you do, you know, your drumstick trick sometimes. And the other day when you did it, just because I have a stupid brain sometimes, I'm like, you know, I wonder if he ever was doing his drumstick tricks and like accidentally threw one and hit somebody in the head with the one. With one of the sticks.
You just prompted
because I was like,
memory.
You know, because as an audience member, you're like on edge, like, oh, is he going to catch it? Is he going to catch it?
I have to say, I catch it more times than I miss.
That's good.
But there was this one time, and somebody was filming. We were doing this big flurry at the end of the song. What was it, Scotland? And I threw the stick up, and I think it was outdoors. It was windy, and the stick started trailing off that way.
Oh.
So I went to go lean, and my drum stool started to go over. And so I fell off the stool and fell onto the ground. I totally missed the stick. And I was like, am I okay? I think I'm okay. And then the microphone comes and goes, bang, and hits me right in the nose. And
wonderful.
And then I had to get up and do the bow, and I'm telling the guys, I just got smacked in the face.
Oh my gosh.
That was, so there's lots of things like that.
I'm glad to know that you're human.
Yeah. Lots of times we're in the middle of the show, I had to go to the bathroom, have to leave the stage and come back, and we know where you're going.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
You name it, you know. There's been a lot.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do, right? If you have to go, you have to go. What are you going to do? You know, I guess you just tell the band, play an acoustic song.
Stretch it out, longer solos.
You know, play a bass solo.
Now in the show, we have this thing. We have a keyboard player in the States, and we have a keyboard player in Europe with Walter's band, and it's called whoever's playing the song, their blues, right? So it's Richard's blues or you know, whoever was playing their blues. So that's when I get to go up and I get to take a break. Mm-hmm. So that's when I do my bathroom break, because it's nice to have that instead of holding it, because sometimes we'll go 2 hours. Show's 90 minutes, but sometimes we'll just jam because we're having a great time and there's no curfew or limit. So, you know, having that break in the middle is nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for all of
Thank you, everybody.
the music over the years. Thanks for telling all the young people out there how to go play live in real life. And here's to many, many more years of heavy hitting drumming.
Absolutely. Hear, hear.